Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 298th Knowledge Seekers Workshop for Thursday, October 17th, 2019. This is a broadcast of the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute Education Department and part of the Public Teachings in English. I'm your host today, Rick Cramen, along with Flint Mulhausen. And of course, with Mr. Keshe of the Keshe Foundation. And I believe he's available today, as usual, in the last 297 workshops, and is ready to go with another dynamite presentation here today. Go ahead, Mr. Keshe.
Good morning, good day to you as usual, wherever and whenever you listen to these series of knowledge seekers. Yes, it's been dynamic last week and the week before. And last week, what we shown has brought a lot of attention to many, many places and many scientific works. We have had many responses, and as the Keshe Foundation people can tell you in the background, since we've shown the technology in the background in the Vienna conference as the representative of the diplomatic corps present. This is the reason we set these conferences up, for the governments to get to know the Keshe Foundation and the technology and what it brings them. We have now, as you know, a member of the Iranian government diplomatic corps were present in the meeting, and we are invited to invest back to Iran in a larger scale with the support of the government for the technology. The advantages will be given is much more what we call beneficial to the work of the Keshe Foundation worldwide, as I explained to on the invitation of the government when I met the officials in the embassy last week when they returned us back in. We are looking at transferring some of or most of the part of the production to Iran, and the medical side and agricultural side, as we have we start this pattern of work. And at the same time, as I inform both Americans and the Iranian authorities, we use our technology as tool for peace. What this means, we have informed the American government and the Iranians to join us in Arizona in development of the new space technology, and same time inviting both scientists on the space level to start interacting, and some eyebrows have been raised. And as you know, our team in Arizona is working towards finding and developing the first factory, which is an industrial, what we call park for the new technology. And I'm sure soon you will see many Iranian scientists hand in hand with Americans in this center developing the space technology. We have seen some videos in past few days showing new insight into what we call the space technology available to Iran, and with this technology we share again with the Americans. In the process of my discussions with both nations is very simple. We do not care what they talk in front. We care that we take man to space safely and freely. I thank both the Iranian, what we call officials, for their what I call invitation, and their counterpart in American administration, which our proposal at the moment sits in the White House waiting for the final decision by His Excellency President Trump to give the green light that the both sides can start the what we call the sharing of the space technology together. As I said, I don't work on a bottom level. I always work on the highest level in the government, and this has given me a lot of advantages to be able to reach both sides and any other government. At the same time, the Keshe Foundation Global Team is following the other diplomats who attended, and as you know, in about 2 weeks' time, we are in Brazil for the second conference in this row, and the invitation for the ambassadors and the diplomats and politicians has started going out, and we will see again. We look at the same thing. We don't want more than 50 people in the whole conference. Um, Not more than 20, 30 members of the Keshe Foundation is good enough for us because it's for governments to engage. And we will, in Brazilian conference, sign the first MOU with the government. One of the governments, world governments, will sign. We know the papers will be ready, will be signed in the conference, and a few months later we'll change this one in their country in our second conference or in our next conferences into agreement and the start of the industrial revolution in that country. The process is the only way it can be done. Technology like this has to be handled by the governments. As you're aware, um, we showed a very rough videos last week because we wanted to be out, because we had to fulfill some of the parameters which falls within our what we call American Administration Keshe Foundation Global, and we had to fulfill part of that. And then at the same time we released new data, which means we show on a person and number of people who are using this process, how it's progressing. What we done, we have brought the two videos together. You will see it in a much up to date. One thing which you will understand when you look at the gentleman in the background, you've seen it in a different way last time, is that medical reports today from the hospital, you have to understand he's been on this process just over about 6 weeks, is that his medication has been reduced by 57%, which means not only you will see the gentleman recovering to his position, his medication which has been given to him for his case of Parkinson's Alzheimer's has been reduced by 57%. We have other cases which are parallel with this research in the same group, and in there we have a patient which is taking 47 tablets a day. That's a young boy, age of 19, taking 47 tablets medication. And this we have seen now reduced by around 17% in the first 3 weeks. And by the end of the 5th week, we expect him to reduce by 50%. You got to understand the new technology which we have developed gives mankind a new chance. No side effects, no problems with what we've seen. Not our youngsters to be pumped in with medication in the level of 50 tablets a day. And it's been going on for nearly 3 years, what we see from his records. This is the 3rd year of it. And you can understand how this new technology will change. We're planning to show the system somewhere around just before Christmas as a Christmas present in one of the medical centers which is getting set up in Europe. It is very important for the knowledge seekers to understand the system has already received orders, and we have received deposits on large scale operation initial moving forward we are planning for. So we have come into a commercialization of the new technology with understanding that people like a young boy of 19 taking 47 tablets a day. I wonder how many of you can take that a day. If you multiply it by purely by 365 days, you can see how much tablet this little boy has taken. He's back to college. He now works. He's back to studies. He start doing homework. He start communicating. He doesn't have the fear of going on the street. All the things with his life in 3 weeks has changed. You got to realize that we video every step of the development. What we say, we deliver. Today's video has been set in a way that you will see it, and there is a lot of questions comes around to us from different part of the world. I have received many requests. Keshe Foundation channels receive different requests. The request is we would like to be part of it. We don't have the money to buy it, we have a little. What we have decided is the following. We're separating this in 2-3 different sections that you will understand. Let us watch the video first, the new release, and then we explain the Chinese system development certification. Then we do the European and the Americans and South Americans and Africans, how we are going to set up with your, as people, as a group, that you become part of the work of the Keshe Foundation. At the same time, you benefit by the work and the investment which you want to do for your loved ones, that you can help the others. Rick, would you like to play the system, the video, please?
Innovative, revolutionary, stellar development, purest universal knowledge. In a transformative, futuristic design. The Universal Body Enhancement Spaceship Unit. The very first new evolutionary spaceship technology has been rolled out for mass production. Our Universal Body Enhancement Spaceship Unit is constructed from high-quality materials carefully selected by our team of experts. Embedding the essence of the new GANS plasma science and technology, it uses collective plasma field technology for changing and enhancing the environment of the body of the man. This new plasma enhancement changes the environment of the body to allow it to return to its natural, balanced, energetic condition, as in the womb of the mother, allowing every cell in the body of the man to find its natural, original field strength balance. The shape and field distribution in this new space plasma technology replicates the inner structure of the universe and replicates the balance fields from which the man was created at the point of inception in the womb of the mother, not only receiving balance in the physical, but also in the emotional sense too. For the first time in the history of man, a system has been developed and delivered which not only enhances the physical body of the man, but also enhances the emotional part of the user of the system, hence reducing and eliminating many problems that could not be solved in the world of science, to bring the body of the man into near perfection, as at the time of birth. This new spaceship technology can be within the reach of every man today and can be ordered by medical practitioners, sports specialists and healthcare centres. The Universal Enhancement Spaceship Unit, the future you have been waiting for, is here. The journey from space to spaceship technology has started. Every order is subject to a contractual agreement and might require additional accessories priced separately for applications according to each case. You can order or contact us at office@at.kfm.global for additional information.
Ah! Thank you very much. As you have seen, this gentleman, like many other Parkinson and Alzheimer cases, he will be another 10 years, maybe in a wheelchair, in bed, numerous amount of medication, and not only touches his life, but it touches the life of people around him. Can you put the picture of the machine on, please? And in this process, it literally imprisons the whole family, plus all the pain and the suffering which brings on the family and themselves. In more or less 8 weeks, half an hour a day, using this technology which is in front of you, which literally comes less than 30 hours altogether. You change the life of a man for good and the families. This is the power of the new technology. This is what is delivering, and this is what is set to deliver in a very effective and a fast way. Not only we see changes in these people in the physical dimension, we see the change in emotion, we see change in attitude, and we see the same thing, the life, the hope, the family, all changes. And for the people who've been around this process for long enough, they know what it means. Instead of planning how to bring the children up without parents, how bringing up parents without the children all comes to an end. It does not mean because of this technology, we all gonna survive till the end of the life of this universe. But it means the time we are in the physical dimension, we can live a more peaceful life with less problems, with less diseases, which some we have created ourselves, some created by the condition of the life and environment. Mankind has moved into a new dimension and is unchangeable. It cannot be changed. With it will bring a lot of new technologies. This is the first small step in this direction. This is not the end. This is not everything. These machines will be manufactured and delivered through the process of collaboration of the Keshe Foundation supporters around the world, as we have seen. We have received the initial orders from the knowledge seekers who are doctors, and or they are there to set up the first step. What we see is a lot of requests by many Keshe Foundation supporters, like we have a small amount of money, we have a sick father or a sick mother or ourselves, and we cannot afford this. We all can afford this. You pay you 20,000, 10,000, whatever. We set up a company jointly owned by those who invest in it, and these machines become the investment. Not only we allow the people who invest in it themselves, or maybe one member of the family, to use it on the what we call the usage of what they paid for. Then as it gathers and creates condition for other people around the world to use it, as they pay for it, then this become an income. As the shareholders of the company which the machine and the technology belongs to, you create a revenue for yourself. Keshe Foundation takes the 30%, and that becomes our revenue, because we still have to support the background support and everything else. Then in a way, it's a perfect investment for those who live with the ethos of the foundation. Doesn't matter in which country you are, we can put collective number of people together in different part of the world, and you can fly into it, or you can make it in your own city, 5 or 10 people together, a small amount can pay for the system. Then these become Keshe Foundation, what we call health centers. There has to be a doctor, physiotherapist, and a nurse which can look after it. At the same time, as you will see from beginning of December, we will give, address, and announce the systems which is placed around the world that you can, if you want to fly to, or you say we want in this area to have. We have a information for our Chinese knowledge seekers. Some of you have reached us that you want to have the system, or you want to be able to use it, or how you can support it. This system in China is going to go through its clinical trial for certification of the Chinese system. The way which is done on the principle and the work in China, knowledge seekers collectively can buy one system, as I explained, and we make it available to the research centers. Once the research completed, which is less than 3 to 6 months, then these machines will return or stay where it is, and the revenue from their income for the people who use it becomes your revenue. Everything will set up legally in the framework of companies, system by system, and many Chinese followers of the Keshe Foundation want to do it. They want to put part in it. Please contact Keshe. As we announced last week, the email, and you will find out, you can contact them, and we'll set it up very rapidly. This research on Chinese side will start somewhere first weeks of November. So we need about 30 machines in China to go through the what we call clinical trials. Between you, 10,000, 5,000, whatever, whoever puts together, we set one company for valuation of one machine, and you have, as a team, you drive it, you run it, your team will run it. Or we have seen a number of Chinese millionaires have offered to buy the system for their own family private use, or they want to use it for a specific disease that one of the members of the family has. That can be organized. One of the first two things which we want to complete in China is Parkinson and autism. So our Chinese followers, go through the WeChat, get in touch with, the officials of the Keshe Foundation in China. Go through the email which we gave last week, which is with the Chinese community. Say what you want to do with it, that we can put this structure for certification into the Chinese authorities through the legal frame which is available to the foundation work. We work with the team of scientists and officials and government structure that this process will go very fast. You got to realize we need 30 patients per case. So if we use half an hour per patient twice a day, maximum we can take 8 persons per machine. So we need 4 machines for, let's say, Parkinson to go through the trial with what is going through. We need 4 for autism. We need 4 for cancer. We need 4 for Alzheimer's. So what we ask the generous community of the Keshe Foundation in China, contact us and put together this, that collectively the Chinese community will benefit by it, and it will be publicly done. The trials will be very much in public domain and you can follow it. Go exactly to the email which was issued last week, and from that email we will respond accordingly as we have. A number of people have contacted through the Chinese line to the Keshe Foundation for help, or they want to invest. Please, it's no problem if you use the link which is given, or go to the sales section of the Keshe Foundation for the system and send a message to us. We have received a request from Macedonia. Our friends in Macedonia, you have to structure it the way we said. We have requests from United States, we have requests from Mexico, we have requests from a number of European countries who they know me, they have contacted, they want to do. We have requests from Middle East. The State of Emirates will be handled differently totally by the foundation. I know many people who want to invest with the machine in Emirates. Let us handle the way we have a structure there. We'll come back to you, and according to what we have and what we set up in the coming time. India is another point for us. We'll come back in and we will announce what it is. Do not, please, do not ask us to do something which is beyond the limitation of the Keshe Foundation's work. You can go through the Keshe Foundation Global in United States to send your inquiries and orders. You can go through the Keshe Foundation website, or get in touch with our officials through the email which is given last week about Keshe Plasma China at gmail.com, or was it QQ? Can you post that up again, please, if you have it?
Yes, we'll get that up. I think it was at 163.com.
QQ, but Q.com, yes, that's the one.
Okay,
if you
we'll
can find it, yeah. Please keep it on the screen, and keep it on the Keshe Foundation link with that the Chinese can reach it. We know in China we can get this done very rapidly through structure with the support of the scientific world in China. They have shown us, we just got to find a way to do it, that all the knowledge seekers in China are involved in it. And at the same time, we want you to monitor. It's important that we give the link to every patient which is on the monitoring of the system you bought, that in the organization you understand the technology, you grow up with it, you become agents of your own knowledge and technology. We can do the same in Europe and America or South Africa or in Africa or Asia. Number of knowledge seekers we need to put together to be able to bring these systems into operation. The first machines will be delivered into United Kingdom under CE regulation certification. The first machines will be 2 machines in Germany with partnership of the Keshe Foundation and 1 independent. 1 machine will go to New Zealand. Number of machines will go to South America and Western Europe. We can meet up to 100 systems a month from January on. So we can structure it from March onwards, more machines can be delivered. It has to be collective. If you are in a country but you don't have access, or you want to have the finances but to be used for setting up a system somewhere else to be part of it, it can be done. We are one nation, one planet, one race. We have no borders. So if you live in Africa or you live in America, you want a machine to be bought to be put in Africa, it can be done because still it's under the same structure. As you remember last week, I explained to you these systems will become feeding stations. And this is a space technology and its limit, where you can sit, go into the machine and receive the energies which become the energy you need for daily use as food, as energy to live. These machines on delivery by first generation, maybe by the second generation, will be self-powered, which means they do not need any power supply. We can drop it anywhere and it'll supply itself. To this effect, Keshe Foundation makes the following announcement. Keshe Foundation has brought the system of wireless technology energy transfer into operation. I have received the clearance in past few minutes to make the following announcement. Keshe Foundation will release self-charging systems in the coming days to company Huawei in China for their evaluation. This means from finishing of the agreement, once we come to agreement with Huawei, your mobile phones do not need charging. Charging phones has become the history of the past. At the same time, we deliver the technology to automotive industries from Monday of next week. Major automotive companies which are going to electrical, it means they do not need to worry about recharging, and at the same time, they do not need any concern about fuel consumption. I have spread this technology in 2-3 different countries that cannot be stopped. As I said, we have fully understood the implication of this technology, and we will show the power of technology on the energy side to major corporations, automotive industry manufacturers in the coming days. This will change a lot for Keshe Foundation, and the contract with these companies will be made public by the Keshe Foundation. This is not part of the Keshe Foundation global operation. This is the Keshe Foundation itself, is its own assets and its own technology. So what this means, from next few months, you will see a huge evolution and revolution in the world of electronics. Delivery of energy from the energies of the space rather than resources of this planet. Following that, we will show the new technology for environmental cleanup, the water resources. We have had this for over 3 years in our book, and now we will release this technology in the coming weeks to United States with the problems with one of the major corporations which was found $365 million penalty for creating cancer to clean up the waters. We will introduce this into the government of Italy for cleaning up of the waters, and this technology has fully been tested. We'll release the report done for the government of Italy for cleaning up of the waters of the 9 most dangerous cancer agents which are in our system. For this reason, you will understand, we'll bring many changes in. Our negotiation with governments is on an open basis. The Keshe Foundation team working on the global or the Keshe Foundation will work as one team to negotiate with all the nations on equal basis. We have no problem dealing with any government as long as our technology is used for peaceful application and understood that we will not stand any pressure. There's one proviso. The state of Belgium is red circled. Till our situation in European court is clarified for misconduct of Belgian officials in bringing armed officers in the court, in what we call destroying evidence, changing evidence, and we give one alternative to the Belgian state. Arrest of the red circle, as they offered, we accept. Arrest of the police officer who's instigated by them, and both cases has to have correct judgment for their sentences. We are prepared to open negotiation directly with the state of Belgium because the evidence of the European court is very clear. During the Hitler time, we have seen people disappearing in the courts, armed officers in the courts. We have seen the same in regime in Baghdad previously. Now we have seen on the evidence of witnesses in the courts of Belgium, which is against of the law and is done by the police officers. We are prepared to negotiate directly with the state of Belgium for all the damages they've done, and prison sentence for red circle, and the officers who we have pictures present in court. We have no other demand except our damages covered. In the way we are responding to your offer, we accept to negotiate, but our terms is very clear. Very, very clear. The officials of the state of Belgium, they tell us it's done by a rogue officer and a guy who's stolen many patents. Our response is very simple. We demand prison sentence on tampering with evidence, destroying evidence, false accusations, and many other things which done by the officer. And the same with the red circle. Cleaning up of the websites internationally is the job of the Belgian security, not us. In that process, the rest of the world has a free run of the technology. What we are structuring is the following. As we are finding many investors who want to invest, we need doctors, we need physiotherapists, and we need nurses who can work in these centers, getting set up, financed, to become the health centers, what we call, as its name says. So today, please, those of you who are doctors, nurses, and in what we call health business, contact the Keshe Foundation through the medical teaching side. We will train all the doctors, and we open one channel for all the doctors who use this system. Please go to, you can go to orders.us, kfgl.global. You can go to Keshe Plasma China at 163.com, or you can send your request directly to the foundation at our store site, Keshe Foundation Store, and find the right link and send it to us. We respond. Those of you who are there to support, to bring the change, this is one of hundreds of new technologies which we release in the coming months. This is the beginning, and you can see the revolutionary in it. This is the beginning in understanding the new technology has come in. With this comes next step, energy, next step, environmental cleanup, next step, production of materials, next step, what we call agricultural through space development. Then it comes, as I've informed the Iranian officials, on the 19th, 20th, 21st, 22nd of April 2020 in the beautiful city of Tehran. We will show the flight system. Those of you who had a dream to see UFOs in the hand of public, in the hand of people, in the hand of one nation, not governments, we will show it to you in Tehran. But the thing is, how can we show something flies when we cannot show what's in it and how it operates? That's why we start releasing the technology, as is the tradition with the Keshe Foundation, back to front. These are the machines. Once we open the space technology, you will see. This is the machine which you will be fed. You will come over the plasma fields of the universe which might touch you. You might have decided to take your dog with you and it gets a disease. You can go into the same machine. And at the same time, every material which we can produce in a replication of another system like this, which is, you have seen before, it will be done. In so many ways, I think the Keshe Foundation team have seen the video of the second system. The system which will be used to the, what we call space for material production, is slightly different, but more or less the same, and is in so many ways a breakthrough for science. These systems will deliver to us everything that we need in space. In so many ways, we are ready to operate in an industrial, what we call size production of mass production of materials, and at the same time we are ready to do the same across this planet. The what we call the production system material is very much the same. Rick, I have sent you a picture for the system production unit, which still has a chair in it too. Would you like to open it? Can you hear me?
Okay, yes, thank you. Just give me a minute here.
Yeah, you will see the industrial version, which is mainly for production of materials, is slightly similar, but in a way is set up differently because it needs different operation and apparatus. The breakthrough in technology will come this way, step by step. You see what is built, what is in, how it operates, how you have your energy system, how we collect energies from the cosmic fields and convert them to human use, AC and DC, how will impact the use of energy on this planet to make it free, available at a point of need. Many of you who went with us with the generator, we will show you the MagRap system, which is a power generator. Now that we have released the off-grid, what we call energy supply for this machine, it allows us to release the MagRap systems. Not this one, not this one. There's another one, not this one. There's two pieces with that one. There's a video. It allows us to release the power generator. No, not this one. There's another one. There were three pieces. It's a video. In so many ways, that's the one. Yes. This unit will become the production of the materials because it will set that it can create the condition of the earth in interaction with the fields of the sun, and in the center will produce as much material as you like. You can play it. And in the process, we understand that the system has the same capabilities. This allows us to produce huge amount of material simultaneously. And in so many ways, you will see new technologies which emerge on this basis of this deep space technology, plasmatic field operation. You got to realize the change has come, and I promised by 19 I will bring it, and it's here. 2020 will be massive development, deployment of new technology across the world. We could not have done this without all of your support. We all done our bet, good, bad. We thought it's good, it turned up to be bad. We thought it was bad, it turned up good. This is the beauty of a big family, that we can collectively work and bring it together and delivering such a beautiful technology. When I see the video of the 19-year-old boy with 47 tablets a day, when he walked into the hospital, when I saw him with his mother, with the doctors, to see what system we need to produce for him as the doctors take over the medical application of it, I thought, I have children younger than him. What's the future? How much more medicine we can pump into these people with no results, and the more and more and more and more and more, because once they get into cycle 47, the side effects becomes worse and they have to give more for side effects. But I've seen this before. Now, we will release the same video as you've seen with the first gentleman of the young boy, back to school, working behind computer, being able to live, being able to communicate, parents being able to enjoy their child. One of my biggest dream was to be able to change a life, not at the end, but at the beginning. And for the first time, this system allows us to with our children. We look at these systems, if you got a Parkinson, you have another 10, 15 years of living. Even we help you another 30 years, 40 years of comfortable life. But the child with autism, the child with any kind of problems at early age has a lifetime of suffering. With this technology, we can bring the change. With this technology, as it's not intrusive, it's by working the same as the way we were born in the womb of the mother. This is the beauty of this technology. Many of you have asked us, can it change DNA? Can it change RNA? Can it change, interfere that damages done by changes in DNA can be reprocessed? My answer is very simple, but you have to understand this is the long-term delivery. Long-term for me is 12 to 18 months, not in 20, 30 years. The answer is yes. This technology has a full capability to reset the DNA for any defects. I will explain this to the scientists in the due course how they have to do it. And using this technology, unless the damage is so severe physically that it cannot be done, most of those who are on the mental level, it can be helped. When you see a child suffering, so talented, with this kind of diseases, to me is a life sentence of imprisonment. And with this technology, we can change it. We, as you will see the first units come out, the interest and the results will bring the world of science to us. Many people tell me, you're not afraid of pharmaceuticals, you're not afraid of big financiers. No, because there is no pharmaceutical in the space and there is no finances in the space. We are not working to change. We are here to test, to open the space for humanity. All the pharmaceuticals welcome to come and bring their knowledge into dimensions of understanding. All the agricultural material medicine we use for centuries now can be transferred. These systems will have a heartbeat of a human being. Those of you who are in Vienna, you have seen it. Now we are getting the testimonials coming in from the people who have been in the system in Vienna. It's very, very strange. I received 2 of them last night or earlier hours of this morning. When you read it, what they have written, is amazing. I can read some of it for you, but 2 people more who have been in, it says conclusion, after only a single 30-minute session until today, no more neck pain. Pain right shoulder and right upper arms have become easier. Positive emotion expressed. They just sat in the machine, they wanted to be in it for a few minutes. It says, thank you very much for giving us this possibility to what we call the Keshe Foundation work. My biggest target is to be able to change the life of the children and being able to give them a peaceful life. And we will see this technology will bring it, will deliver it. There is no nation on this world which will stop this technology. The reason for it is that the world leaders suffer from the same pains themselves and their families as the rest of us. We see that the German group who have already placed order for these units have already offered this technology to the Chancellor of Germany for help. We stand by and support them. In the coming weeks, you will see addresses of the places where you can go in Europe. And you have to understand, in most of these, we support And in a way, we try to understand more of how to use, to elevate, and to alleviate the pain of the people. We put there at the price of 150,000, as you see, this is still November, I'm sorry, 1st of January. From 1st of January to 1st of March, it goes to 500,000. And from 1st of March, the price will be set at 1 million euro. The structure is very simple. We have one point. Those of you who carry pacemakers, stents, you carry parts which is addition to your stomach. Those of you who have a ring in stomach for reduction of the stomach, you cannot use this technology. The energy transfer creates what we call attachment of the material to the flesh and can be dangerous. So you have to understand that at this moment of time, we have this limitation. And I don't see any other way to do it. There is a way to do it, which is using the chair, which you see in coming time to remove these materials from the body and at the same time replace and create a condition of repair. But this is at least 2 years away. It's not something will be done tomorrow. I wish I could do it today to help one of my best friends. It cannot be done. With this technology, we have to work together to deliver in every city, every country. And understand, we don't take the wealth with us, but we can carry the blessing of the people who we help. We might think we are healthy today, and tomorrow it can change. Don't think I'm paying for a system when I need it. Help the others who suffer now, that we can bring this technology fast, that with their blessing, you might not ever need it. The operation is very simple. This is the beginning of new industrial revolution, and it has to come with it the understanding of the man that there is no need for creating tools of war and everything else. The interesting part is, if you could get access to 10% of the American $930 billion budget, military expenditure, more or less, which is 93 billion, every major city would have a factory, industrial zone, and many industries which will use this technology. We have chosen the path of killing than the path of living. And with this technology, those who go into it will change the state of their emotion and mind to elevate it. One of the biggest gifts of this technology will come when mankind become wise. As you know, one of the most greediest men in the world of technology, Edison, trying to prove one of the most beautiful scientists of our time, Tesla, to be wrong by developing the AC, he created the electric chair to prove that this can kill. He put an elephant through electric shock, put them in the machine, he made the machine to kill, and is used for execution in United States. As the path of follow the structure of the Tesla, using the technology for benefit of mankind, we will not see prisoners. As by use of this technology, we can elevate the soul the understanding of the man that we do not need to imprison the man in the cage, in his brain and in a room. But by putting him in this machine, we elevate his souls that we don't need no more prisons. Very soon, we'll offer these to correctional centers in the United States and across the world as an alternative to imprisonment. Now you understand how urgent it is for us to bring the change. Those of you who have spent time in prisons for different reasons or no, and we see every day more and more black people are committed to prison in the United States. And we see more and more people, because of the addiction, trying to supply their daily need to satisfy their addiction, which is more or less now half of the prisons around the world. With this technology, do not need to be there. The change is huge. When we can take a boy of 19 from 47 most effective addictable drugs to control mind, you can see there's not much problem addiction with this. As I said, we'll change the history of man through this technology, and step by step we will open the door. In releasing the new wireless technology and power from the universal energy, we freely clean the environment. The beauty with this is, today with cars which are battery operated, we pay $160,000, $180,000 for a car, and the car worth about 60. The other 100,000 is for free supply for the rest of the life of the car for 25 or 30 years. But the energy is burned somewhere else, as I said before. But the biggest crime and criminality with it is, each of these cars carry 6,000 batteries. As we heard recently, one of the major corporations in car said that the old batteries used to do 385,000 miles, and the new batteries in the cars from 2020 will do 1 million miles before it drops by 10%, and then it needs to be scrapped. Can you close the microphone, please? There's a microphone open in the background. Rick, thank you very much. But the beauty with this technology is, these cars, when they finished, we have 6,000 highly dangerous chemicals, batteries, now we have to dispose of. Nobody's talking about that part. And now when we sell 1 million, you have 6 billion batteries. If you sell 10 million, we have 60 billion batteries a year to bury in 20 years' time. With this new technology, there is no battery the way we know it. To be able to deliver the technology, we have developed a new battery which will come into operation at the same time. This has no chemicals, has no residue. It's a solid state, and with it will safe guarantee the operation of new technology. New energy system needs new way of delivering it. So in a coming time, you will see new batteries, new generation of batteries which is already developed to come into operation, especially like with this system. This will change a lot of things for us. At the same time, one of the advantages with this system is the application of it in deep space. In deep space, anyone get attacked or attached with a high magnetic field, what we call the virus, by putting them in this machine, within seconds we can bring balance. If you understood this, you will understand simply, if we replicate the same thing, it does not take much to understand what happened when we put war leaders and the soldiers through this machine. Would we have war leaders? Now, would we have soldiers? Don't forget, every man gets sick, be it the soldier, to the president, to the king. But the beauty of it is, the beggar on the street and the king on the street will sit on the same chair as their throne as they try to save their lives. That is why all men are equal. I go especially to our Chinese group. Some of you have asked, I want to buy a system for my family. Understand, your family is the rest of human race. You are not born on your own in that place and have that child. Work with us to deliver this technology rapidly. Work with us. As a non-profit organization, we invest everything back into the helping the people. I had a request from one of the knowledge seekers. The money I paid for such a thing to be delivered from Italy, can that be part of the deposit for the machine that is bought and I'll be a shareholder? The answer is yes. Those of you who want to convert your orders by closing Italy, we can do, go to one way or the other, and this can be done too. Invest in the society, and the society invests in your freedom. Any questions?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Keshe. There is one of our attendees with a hand up here that Baba Iani. Allow them to talk and they can ask their question. Hello, do you want to go ahead? Do you have a question about the about what Mr. Keshe has been discussing? Hello, Baba, can you open your microphone? Okay, they might be having some trouble with the microphone, or perhaps they didn't intend to put their hand up. In any case, I'll remind the attendees they can put their hand up in order to ask a question, and the panelists can go ahead if they like. And let me see, you've already answered Bente's question regarding the, she had a question regarding the DNA. More specifically, it was about things such as poisons, which are known to change the DNA, and GMOs and so on. Can that be reversed back, the damages that are done by such dioxin or even nuclear radiation?
Yes, these can be all discussed and can be done. And we consider radiation as part of the cosmic rays, and there should be no problem with that. I know there is a request. You had a question. Is there another question?
Mr. Keshe, on the Spanish side, they're asking if the second generation of these machines have an independent power supply. I think this has been already cleared, hasn't it?
Yes, we tried to do that in the first generation.
Mr. Keshe, there was a question on radioactivity in Tokyo. Is that part of what you would like to address right now, or save that
Yes,
for later?
go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, we had a question from Miyahiko. Not sure if I pronounced that right. And who says, I live in Tokyo, Japan. And on the 26th of September, in the train of the Sobu line, I detected with my Geiger counter, I think it's 9, it's a strange symbol, I don't know what it is, 9 something per hour of radioactivity after stopping in the Nakano station. So I got off the train at the next station. There, the radioactivity was normal. Generally, the radioactivity is about 0.1 in this area in Tokyo. So this is 90 times higher. I thought someone was illegally transporting a kind of radioactive material, or maybe I was hit by something like a radioactive laser gun or something like that. I read Wikipedia, and it was written that there is an X-ray laser, quote, shooting electrons on a plate of metal can make an X-ray, but it makes a lot of heat, unquote. So there is a problem of heating of that weapon. But if someone has the Keshe technology, there is the technology of superconductivity and so on, and can solve the problem of heating. Sorry, I'm not a scientist, I'm not sure. So I hope, if I got your opinion, if this high radioactivity was created by any sort of weapon or not. Thank you so much. Miyahiko.
Yeah, thank you very much. We know in China the radiation has traveled the whole nation. You got to understand, a lot of people travel in Japan from radioactive areas. They live or they work or they travel. They sit on the trains, they travel, they carry things with themselves, unknowingly contaminated. The process is, even if it's produced by laser or what they call monoenergetic systems, these all can be changed, and they can be absorbed, and they can be made harmless. The position with Japan is very critical, because by not releasing the data and the facts, Japanese government has managed to what you call stop the talk about and how further the contamination has moved around. What is localized contamination in Fukushima and the reactors? They brought it under control, but you got to understand, it blew up the whole country more or less. It's a spread. There are pieces of it, there are part of it which are there. People carry, they buy goods, they bought vegetables. It still goes on. The Fukushima situation will not resolve for next 200 years from Japan, because every gram of the material which blown up in the reactors are not accounted for. We don't even know where they are. As you know, we've done a lot of work with TEPCO, we've done a lot of work with, if you remember, Yokoko going back to Japan, showing that it can be done. And in so many ways, these kind of radiations are become normal part of our lives in a space. We will mutate to accept or to be able to absorb part of it. Many races in the space have done so, because it needs a different kind of breathing, different kind of energy transfer. It's very much like when we go to a high altitude and water is still on the earth, we have different, we go under the sea, we have different application. And So we will see these X-rays and gamma rays will be child play compared to the rays and real plasmatic fields in the universe. There is not much worries to have if you receive one instantaneous or what they call it, few milliseconds of exposure, but um, to carry these small handheld lasers is something that you have to see the capability and possibility of the usage of it and how they've developed it. But in general, should be no worries. And the beauty of the next generation of the communication, which will come with the plasma technology, this is something which we will open up into public in the coming time, will not have the same effect as what the telephone masks have nowadays. The new communication system, plasma communication system, is totally different than the present communication systems we have. As I said, we will, as we deliver a new, what we call self-sustained energy absorption from the plasma of the universe, mobile phones and your laptops and your, as I was asked yesterday, your mixers or your drill machine, you will find out that this will change everything. You got to realize what we tell you now, like mobile phones which can power themselves, the drilling machine. Just go back to the original pattern. It's in the patent. Now we are opening it up. It's not something new which we are telling we're going to do. The technology has been with us 10 years ago, 15 years ago when we wrote the patents. So now when we speak about this, even this, what we call the enhancement unit, going to the patent, we are delivering the technology of the patent because you as knowledge seekers did not manage to do so. It's been with you for 4 years, 5 years. It's been open patent, you cried for it, why don't you give it? We opened it, you read it, you couldn't understand, you put it aside. So what we are delivering now is a step by step what is in the patent. The existence of the room to go in, to receive, to heal is in patent. Please, any of you who have access to it, you downloaded it, just bring the number, which section. What we tell you now is actually bringing every section of the patent open for public. It's not something new. Patents were submitted 2005, 14 years ago. Technology was delivered in Iran 2008. The beginning of it, 1960s, 1970s. This is not a technology which just suddenly popped up. It's a technology which is put in step by step, developed, open the patent. Those of you who have access, bring it out, tell the rest what it says in the patent regarding the environment you go in and you see it for your illnesses and the rest of it. So to you, Keshe Foundation has brought the enhancement. Keshe Foundation released this patent 2005 with this technology in it. 15 years, nobody has done anything. Now we're delivering, in a way, we are delivering what's in the patent to those of you who could not read the patents. The delivery of the promise. In so many ways, the patents we release is the promise of the delivery of a new technology. Very much is a new Bible of science. And now you see what has been there, now it's getting delivered. You should not be, oh, they come up with something new. No, we are delivering what we showed in the patent. You couldn't do, we are doing it for you. The battery system, if you look at the patents, it shows you a drill with the unit in it. So now you understand. You say they don't have it. We say very simple. The world was not ready for it. Now we are pushing the human race to work with it. So those of you who've been telling, oh, they come up with another thing, no, go back. We already gave you the other things, you didn't understand it. Now we are delivering the other things that we fulfill what we explained and shown in the technology apparatus. If you build and take these systems into Japan, many places where you have the radiation damage, or you're afraid of it, put it in this machine, walk into this machine, give it on about 10 minutes. Even if you are exposed to radiation, you'll be de-exposed from the radiation. This is what's going to be used in space, and Japan is the best candidate for it because they've really blown themselves up to pieces with their radiation. In so many ways, there's a beginning of a change. We use the water, we use the electricity, and we had the industrial revolution. Now we have the plasmatic revolution, which takes us into space. And the interesting part is, we told you 20 years ago. Now we have to show it to you that it's here. Try to understand the principle behind the creation, then you unravel the mystery of my patterns and my books. Try to look at the human eye and knowledge of the present time. Everything looks impossible and magic. It's not my problem if you believed in Father Christmas for past 200 years and used the earth materials and everything else and built for it. This technology is real, works in space, and as I've seen very recently, Americans are running away from it very fast in their boats. It pushes peace. It pushes to show there is no need to kill. And as I said, we will install these machines in the prisons of today that by most probably in the next 3 or 5 years, many prisons will be shut down. Keshe Foundation will make gifts to prisons around the world. Or you can do with the help to buy and give it to the prisons and let them come out. No addiction for life, no criminality. Secondly, why should we lock a man when we can free his soul? Elevate his soul to be free with it. That they can use that elevation of the emotion to put their life, the physical life, in a good use. If I tell you what you can do with this technology, you lot will sell your homes, you sell your cars to make sure these systems are everywhere, that man will not do the damage and the crime they have committed so much, so proudly. As I said, my job is done. I've just got to show you a few more pieces, show you your flying machine next April in the beautiful city of Tehran, where I was born. And then my mission is over. Then you as a human race have to decide how and where and the way you want to set the path for humanity in space. Any other question?
Okay. Don't see anyone with their hand up here, and our panelists seem like their
Shocked.
tongues are tied, as they say. Shocked. Yes.
Rick,
Uh-huh.
they've asked me again to ask. The first generation is still connected. They must be referring to the one used in Austria. But as far as I have gathered, this has already been overtaken, hasn't it?
We have said, and we try to keep it because there's other things with this process, that the first generation is already running in China and in a couple of places in Europe. So the first generation is already opened up. And second generation, or what we call, what is coming up as a total structure which is totally different, we will have, or what we call it, we try not to use any power, but we can produce enough power to run it. That should not be a problem. You see, none of you understood when I gave you the gift of the magraphs. Any other question? There's something I have to tell you. Somewhere around about first weeks of January, Keshe Plasma website in China will be opened up. What this means that all the knowledge seekers who produce materials or technologies will be allowed, will be given access to sell their products worldwide, very much like the Alibaba Plasma and GANS technology. We own 51% of this company, which is getting done. The technical side should be completed, they tell us, by the end of December, hopefully, if they can do it. And you can all access to promote your products. And as I said, for one of the first things which you will see is like what already we sell on the Keshe Foundation global system of what used to be like t-shirts and pads and that kind of thing, around about $9 or €9. And all the, what we call the patches, will be around about 9 to 19 euro. These are all CECCC certificated by the company in China. It'll be part of the Keshe Foundation operation. So we will not allow more than 1 or 2 items to be bought. So it means now you used to buy the paint pad from us, I don't know, 69, 59 something. You should be able to buy it on about 9 to 19 euro. Even cheaper in China. But the structure you will see, which will come up with the new website in China, I'll tell you now, and then as we come to it further on, every time you shop, you will receive a coupon. You can take that coupon and go to other website like Alibaba and use it as purchase value. So if you buy something like 50 euro, you'll be most probably given a 50 euro coupon that you can spend against positions, items which is put up in certain major websites, and it'll give you a chance to cross purchase across China and non-China. So it'll be the first time the two will merge. We operate what very much like the operation of the major corporations. So please, if you are producing materials or whatever and you're selling a few here and there, start packaging it, start getting certification from your country if you can. Or if you cannot get it certified, if it's different than what we do, we see if Foundation can help you to get it certified worldwide in different ways if we see it appropriate. So for example, as I said, the t-shirts and the pads will go definitely for €9.99 from beginning of the year. Once the website opens up, the team has started already. The background of it has already been done by the team which has joined us. They already done all the work. That's why we're coming out so fast. So you will see all these, what we used to sell like knee pads and everything else, and the iPads, all will go around about €9 to 9.99, 19.99. We bring it so low that everybody can afford it and becomes item to be sold. We do not allow more than one purchase or two item purchase, which doesn't allow people to buy and try to resell. We do not want to go into the resale job through this, because we have to produce so much material for this auxiliary, as part of the auxiliary use of these machines. Some of these machines, when you use them for a specific cases, you need specific materials like a t-shirt or a helmet or a hat or whatever. So we are not selling it to anything else. This is something we are producing for these systems as a package. Now is surplus, which is well produced, huge amounts, and we can do this. It'll be of the highest quality. We'll carry what we call CE medical certification 1 for all of them. But this time will be fully certified, which is medically certified through the appropriate companies in China, and they'll be delivered. And as I said, we'll bring the traffic of the Keshe Foundation with major corporations that you can shop on this website, and you can spend the coupons on other well-known websites or products which is offered equal 1-to-1. As I said, we are doing a lot of work in the background. The Chinese community, Keshe Foundation, is doing a horrendous amount of work. It's a lot of pressure on Wang Lin and the rest of the team which are there trying to get these things sorted out. And we come back into a full operation of it by next few weeks. And we'll let you know as we develop more. The books will go back on sale. It'll be organized in the next few days. As we saw in Italy, was never done. So you will get all those people who placed books orders. We found out that a lot of stock which wasn't sent out by Italy now is being sent out past few days. You receive backlog of the orders you've been waiting for, and there is some what we call refund outstanding which come from Italy and the past. We close all these hopefully before end of this month or early next month. That it means by we're closing the factory company in Italy, we do not, as usual, try and relinquish our responsibility, but we fulfill it. There's a lot of what do you call it, people who would like to have the situation to be settled. Now we can settle it. We have more to do it by closing Italy, and but we will open in Italy in an industrial scale very, very soon, as we have work to be done for decontamination. This is one of the reasons we start for a full decontamination process in Italy in the coming time, as we've done a lot of work for it, and we can more or less get it done ourselves. Any other question? Or I think we have given you enough headache for today.
There is one question from Ed in the Q&A who asks, in the US, for doctors to get involved, there's the issue of the FDA approval. So also many people in the US depend on health insurance to pay for medical procedures. Would you care to address these issues?
We have no problem working with FDA. These are not medical systems, they are what we call environmental enhancement. On the medical application, it's in conjunction with FDA can test everything because there is no intrusion. We don't intrude, you don't need to drink anything, you can walk into the space. Is a change of environment, and it doesn't take much for FDA to move our Americans who cannot do it in America. There are many islands and countries around you which will take the machine and it'll be done. As I said, we have gifted one of the machines to the Austrian community. And what I see, we have to start building reserves, 1 to every 10 or 20 orders we get for delivering in emergencies like what happened in Bahamas. We will use extensively for the Asia and Europe. As you know, the Silk Road railway system. I was talking to our people in China today. It's very easy. Within 18 days, we can deliver anywhere in Europe, and it's safe. And we could be door to door to the city where you all buy delivery by train to the nearest train station. We will use the support of the Chinese structure heavily in the coming time. And certification of it in each country, we try to sort out. This is part of the work I'm doing in the background by bringing the statistics, what is coming from team of doctors from the trials. The governments will use this as a basis that the first step is done, and makes it easier. We already have a FDA water certificate for in Ghana. We can transfer it or use as a backup for FDA in US, because the Ghanaian FDA is based on the American FDA system. It's already interchanged. So we don't see FDA as a problem. This is not a medicine. It's initially what we call environmental change.
There's one additional question from Pia about patients who are on medication treatment, and if they're on a load of medication, do they have to step down on the medication before using the unit?
The way the doctors are monitoring it and doing it in China is we allow the first couple of weeks the system works, and start reduction very, very small amounts. And then over a few weeks, you see a total or majority reduction in medication. You got to understand, everything done is by supervision, under supervision of the medical people. Each center will have a number of doctors allocated to it, working from it, a number of what we call therapists, because you got to realize, as you've seen in the video, these people most probably haven't done anything or could not do, being paraplegic for years. And one thing you might have realized is that you see gentlemen getting up and walking after a few days. You tell this to any physiotherapist, they'll laugh you off. I've shown this to a couple of physiotherapists. They said this is a very good actor, because no one can go so fast, because you understand the psychological body of the man through the brain of the man resets, not through the physiotherapy. These movement we see is just because brain has opened it up. Now they're just delivering what is now has been closed, locked up, or destroyed in so many ways, now opening up. And we see this. I was talking to one of our colleagues in sports center, in like football teams, for fast recovery of the players to go back. It can speed up by weeks and months some of the processes. You can imagine, this is what I was explaining very recently, past few days, to a number of groups we were talking to. You know, I've done a lot of work with ILS and MS. We see this as the ultimate solution for MS and ILS. It's quite possible we can recondition a lot of its damage. Not 100% recovery, but what we see here, it's because it elevates both the soul of the man and the physicality. It will work very nicely with it. So those of you who suffer from MS, 3 or 4 of you get together, the money you're paying for life, put it in, buy a system, we deliver it, test it, and then become centers. We have to deliver the proof of technologies through certification to our own conduct. So if any of you suffers from ILS and MS, you know we've done a lot of work. We know how it works. Now we have a system which can speed up, control it, and deliver it much faster. And so we put in the hospitals. Nothing will be done by Keshe Foundation. We are not getting involved in health business. We are technology development, setup, space technology development. But we work with the health groups to deliver the technology. So if you suffer from ALS, MS, um, clinical fatigue, critical fatigue, um, fibromyalgia, all these can be supported with this technology, with this machine. So put it together, call us, say it's 5 of us, 10 of us, we want to do it. And in some cases, if you can come up with majority of it, I'll commit the foundation to the rest. At the same time, we take a majority share in the company. Anyway, we take 30%. But whatever we take, majority share goes back spending on your city, on your country, and the rest of it, so it doesn't go in our pocket. So if you, but we're not going to offer this blank offer to everyone. If for a system which is going to be 500,000, you raise 300,000-400,000 of it, I'm willing to commit the Keshe Foundation to the other part, and we come with you in doing it. But those who come with a small amount of it, it cannot be done. We cannot at this moment do it. Otherwise, we'll support you. So we need to develop this, or if you are part of a MS group or whatever, let's do it and let's see what comes up. And we position doctors. We need huge number of doctors to move to this technology, to understand this technology. It's very hard for medical people to switch to this. It's extremely difficult because it's not in the books and it goes against everything they've been taught. One of the biggest problems now we're facing in China with this system, with these volunteers, is that pharmaceuticals always made the medicine. Then they had something to do with what do we call it? Parkinson never survives. Doesn't matter. We can override or we can overlook these side effects. Now people are reversing. Red lights are flagging. I've raised a lot of red flags with the Chinese medicine at the moment. Even generic ones from the copy from Europe. Because we see the recovery different in Europe, in the West, than the same medicine in the East. So there is a problem there we have to sort out. And the damages are heavy because when you don't expect the guy to come back, how you expect for him to tell you he's lost his memory, he can't move his leg, side effect, he has a heart problem and everything else. Now we can even reverse side effects. Now we see the problems which is going to come up. Many medications will be withdrawn from the market this way because we see the side effect of. We don't release many videos. Every day I receive maybe 5, 10, sometimes more videos from the patients around the world. And so we see, we can compare. We can extremely push to the limits of knowledge and science. So let's do it together and see. You came to learn knowledge, now you find a way to save yourself or your family with it. It's all stays within the family, but now the family extends to the whole of this planet. You got to remember, many world leaders are sick with cancer. Many world leaders are sick with other diseases. We know many of them. So it's not just for us, it's for them too, because always it's been them and us, now it's us and us. Be it the poor man, be it the rich man. As I said yesterday, I was explaining, when you go to Beijing, in the West, you're used to seeing beggars putting a hat out and you drop a coin in. When you walk the streets of Beijing, the beggars have a WeChat in front of them on the floor. You just take your phone and WeChat and give them money from yours. This is how much the East has evolved and the West has still to learn. the money is in the bank, as they say, the minute the guy pushes the blink. It's very strange. If you are not aware of it, you've never seen it, the beggars just put a WeChat sign on the floor and they sit in front of it. They don't need a hat because nobody carries money in the pocket. And the people just give them 1 RMB or 10 RMB. WeChat is in the bank. Modern begging system can beat modern feeding system. You don't need to give them to beg. You say, just go in the machine. You're fed. I'll pay to the machine. You got to realize the next steps of these things is going to become so common that you want have a Chinese, the Chinese flavor, any food of it, taste of it, the feel of it, the pleasure of it. You can go into one of these kiosks and press the button, have the taste, the pleasure, and the food of it, and the energy of it, and walk out. Every cell of you will receive it and the pleasure of it. Because it carries not only the emotion, it's very much like what you see with the orange. It's the orange, you smell the orange, you took the energy of the orange, the system will deliver all this. I have opened the space technology. Let's see how fast mankind will jump on it. Any other question?
Hello, Mr. Keshe.
Hello.
It's John from Arizona.
How can we miss that, John? John, what's our position with Arizona setting up the factory or the industrial zone?
I'm going out again on Friday. I think I have a location that looks very exciting.
Are we more near the desert or on the other side?
This is going to be a good location. Not in the desert, but in a very good location. So we'll see how that goes.
No problem. As you know, John is the head of the Keshe Foundation Arizona, and he is one of the 3 members, board of directors of Mark Ray. So he knows everything what's happening. Carry on, please.
Can you explain the what the VAT tax rate would be, and also can you give me an estimate of the shipping cost going to the United States?
What it is, about $5,000 in that region. The shipping goods from the goods will be shipped in 2 or 3 different times, different part of the world, all CE certified with everything else. But when we ship with this the first 200 or 300 patients, what we call support system, auxiliary system. And so when we take a system, the taxes you pay in your country, how you pay, I think it's around some places up 30%, 40%. Some countries is 5%. Depends on your importing, what do you call it, the materials. The shipping is around about $5,000. If you are in Europe, we were talking about it this morning, a 40-footer container will carry maybe 3 systems in it. So it'll be around about 3,000, 4,000 euro each to the nearest train station to where you are. Then your clearing agent will do it. If you are in Europe, if you're an individual, you have to pay the taxes. If you're a company, you're exempt because we use your VAT registration. In America, I think it should be the same. At the port of entry, they give you the list. Everything has a code. All the systems are what you call European certified. All the systems which we deliver. So you look around about 300-400 per case of the materials they need extra, maybe 100 in the container or 200 cases in the container. That it covers the first 200 patients, which gives you about 1 machine, gives you around about, you can use it, I mean, think about maximum 5 times 4, which is about 40. One machine will give you, allows you to use for 40 patients a year.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Erica. We can, what do you call it? If it's like 3 machines in the container, it should be feasible. It's all. And one thing which we have, we will send people which we train to assemble, to teach the use and everything. They spend 2-3 days with your doctors and the technicians to understand how it works. So you just don't get it, you get it assembled, put together, shown you how to do it. We have a team in global and outside global which can put this together for you. Any other question?
One question that comes up, people ask, is for the units that are sold on the KF store, for example, or including the mobile field unit, do they require a doctor to operate? How does that work?
These units need the doctor, yes, because we know, we've seen the operation, because there's a part which the medication has to be reduced. There's a part which the people, because of the rapid changes, we see the lack of energy, that they need support to recover. We see physiotherapists that they have to watch, they don't damage themselves by doing things they can't do. And you've seen this gentleman in the video. Some of them need 2 or 3 people to monitor them through, but as they become expert, they know what to do. It's a, you should look around 40 people maximum, between 35 to 40 people a year for a machine. It's a time operation. Unless you can get your, what do you call it, night shift into operation, you might push it to 60. People who come at night and go through the system twice, you can add another 4, more or less, another maybe 6 people per cycle. You have 5 cycles, you can make it to about 50-60 patients per machine.
Speaking of night, is it possible that people could sleep in this machine? Would that be beneficial?
No, you don't need more than 30 minutes maximum.
30 minutes maximum.
Yeah,
Okay.
twice a day, because the body, this is not repairing the body, this puts everything right, the body repairs itself. That's why you become independent.
And you need the time away in order to do those repairs.
For the body to do the repairs, yeah. The first especially few weeks, first 3 or 4 weeks, you feel very tired, very fatigued, because the energy is used to rebuild the damages. You know, this research which is done on the, what you call, energy usage. A scientist, a professor, or somebody in the university uses more energy than a minor face worker. So you can see how much energy you need to repair the damages. I have a little boy who wants something. Just 1 second, yeah. So that is part of the process, that we need doctors. Yes, we need doctors to understand which medication to reduce. Don't forget, as part of the Keshe Foundation Global and Medical, we will set up team of doctors 24 hours on call, that as the world doesn't go to sleep when you have these systems, is that you can call for advice. We will start building these centers. That's why we take that 30% of the income to provide these facilities and services in the background. That you're supported, the doctors are supported, the patients are supported. Building a structure is already on the way, but it takes time. To within the next 12 months, as we sell more systems and certifications come through faster from different countries, we will go through the whole setup, so the whole structure. Any other question?
One big question: has Mr. Trump President Trump been told, and is he receptive?
The American administration is today, now as we speak, live online with us. American administration, Chinese administration, the Iranian officials, the Russian officials, scientists, different universities, always are present with us. We are watched very closely by not just by President Trump during the time of the President Obama. And we are, they are aware of it. There's a catch-22 with this situation, as I've said many times. And Iranian nuclear physicists helping the Americans to develop a space technology in Arizona is a very harsh pill to swallow. But at the same time, it's one of the best pills to take. And we are closely watched by all, from top to bottom of the White House, from the Energy Department, by what they call Homeland Security, the Office of Presidents. Yes, we are fully watched. They are aware, they know what's happening. And the same is with many European countries. This cat is too big to put it back in the bag. And the problem is that they all need that cat, because we are not selling energy, we are playing with their understanding of their survival in the space. As I said to the American officials, let's start with the space technology you're so dreaming of to have, then we'll see what can be done with the rest of it. Are there any other questions?
Just scanning now. I think you pretty much covered it.
We have
Ed asked,
people with the technology.
yes. Ed asks, is there a time limit or life cycle for how long these machines will remain effective?
Life of your great-grandchild. Is the technology of the universe, not the man. Has no time.
No best before date.
Yep.
But on the other hand, you do have a plan to continually update and modify the machine as necessary to.
We always do. It's the
it's
same.
always, it's a dynamic situation. It's not a finished product necessarily. It'll be
Never
finished, but
finishes.
it'll be dynamic. I'm sure you want to be modifications for the doctors will want to make modifications, and the patients will have suggestions. And
I
so
think the main part of it will come when the scientific world, or the world of medicine, will enter the what we call modification of the DNA, and what they call upgrading of RNA to fit different environments in space.
well,
Something which mankind does not know, we are not aware of.
well, strangely enough, there's in about a week or two here in the Victoria, BC, in Canada region, they're having a workshop convention of doctors in the cancer realm that are involved specifically with immunotherapy and the idea of using viruses and DNA as the basis of how they work. And it was interesting. They had an article come up. I'm normally not that interested in that sort of thing, but I looked at what these people were doing, and it was not the regular cancer care therapy with chemotherapy and radiation and so on. This is a totally different new branch that's coming out that has to do with the basic changes and how we can essentially, to me, what we're seeing with the Universal Body Enhancement Spaceship Unit is right up their alley. And I'm going to try to get the video shown during their conference somehow, if I can squeeze it in. I'm not sure if that's possible, but I think there is those changes, is what I'm saying. We're on the cusp of a new reality with the doctors, and they're forced to accept it because there are other doctors that are discovering these changes that are possible.
I think, in a way, the new generation of medical people realizing that the present pharmaceutical solutions are not good enough, and the old ones stick to what they have because they've done it for so long. It doesn't matter. But what we see, the new generation in their 30s and 40s are opening, forcing new developments, and they're challenging governments. Many doctors are going into alternative because the present pharmaceutical doesn't give answer, and the governments are getting fed up of prosecuting doctors. Because how many doctors can you prosecute and get off the medical list? Then you don't have doctors to do anything. Especially in European nations, the governments took a very negative stance regarding the alternative medicine of people who brought these things out, and some of them originally were, what do you call it, hammered and sentenced, and their certificate was withdrawn. But how many can you withdraw? The more and more they come, then you don't have enough doctors for population. It's what they call the it's coming to the point, as I always say, is the story of the Tesco retail group in England. And they forced the change because people wanted a change. You know the story, the British knowledge seekers can tell you. Years ago, you couldn't buy anything on Sunday, and you could not buy meat after 12 o'clock, and everything has to be shut. And there was a fine of £250 if you opened on a Sunday. But the major supermarkets opened on a Sunday, and they took nearly £1 million. 250 was nothing. They opened most of the branches the following week and the following weeks. And the government kept on giving 250, it was nothing. And then they passed the law, Sundays are open for everybody. And so that we see the same, because the doctors care. They see the suffering of their patients, and the new medicine brings nothing but pain or cannot do what it's supposed to. They're looking at everything. They're looking at every opportunity to see what can be changed. And some of the doctors of the old tradition are looking at it because they've seen they suffered with their patients. I hope we can get to the point that by next couple of weeks, we will announce what we call the free energy system. Not the free energy is not free, but what we call plasmatic system, charging system, that will push a lot of things forward, and then hopefully the other stages and applications of the technology. When you are committed to the belief of peace and change of life of man, the rest doesn't really matter. You can survive all of it. And we carry on doing so. And we deliver more and more technologies. If I've just seen a note, somebody tells us, if I can put funds for a unit and you can find the others to share with me, and I'll become partner with them with any country, it will do for me. I don't think that'll be a very difficult position to do. So this is your decision. If you want to do it, you can send, we go public with it, what we receive from who we received, and you can say which countries you want your investment to be in. We set a company up and accordingly you take a share. And if we see certain positions which a foundation can become partner, we'll invest on part of it to make sure it happens. Any other question?
We have a couple of people with their hands up here. Dan had his hand up at one point, and Hassan also has his hand up. Allow you to speak there, Hassan. Hassan, if you can unmute your microphone, then go ahead.
Yes, thank you, Rick. Thank you, Mr. Keshe. I have one question in Facebook from a French group, and I don't succeed to copy and send in from Mr. Keshe this question in Zoom.
What is it? Can you
Okay.
read it, or you want the French people to read it translated?
No, it's I think it's in Romanian. It's translated from French in Romanian, and I needed to translate from Romanian in English. It's a little bit complicated. I asked the person in French to putting the question another way for or I can read if it's possible.
Do you have the original Romanian version of it?
Yes.
Okay, can you send it to Rick? We post them. We have a number of Romanians, I hope, online.
This is the problem. I can't copy from Facebook. Asking from this person to send him from in my email or messenger. Okay, I try. Good day, Mr. Keshe. I want to know how I stand in the front of this disaster to humankind is not realized never. The big create from the origin, from creation, and not making nothing in this scale exorbitant in time. See more. The event is approach. What is the future Gaia of Earth? If you don't have it, just the key for humanity, freedom of humanity in the history. Never. Because it's not achieve this level till now. I'm sorry for this, and I am attack. I have attack from energy. This person saying, I am attack energy from my condition here in Earth. When yesterday I want to put in one question about the state of Earth. What I think, much recognition, and thank you for your help here and now in this planet, saying this person.
I don't understand what it
means. Asking how the danger, because it's not achieved yet this level, how is the state of Earth, of the planet?
The question doesn't make sense, Dan. What do you mean? What is the state of the Earth? What's the reference there? What's the context? Do you want Mr. Keshe just to tell them what the state of the Earth is now?
No, it's a bit, sorry, I'm sorry. I copy this. I try to copy this question and putting to Caroline, Sinara Caroline or you, Rick, and sending this message.
Okay, we'll figure it out in
Thank
the
you.
background then.
Thank you.
Okay, I have received a list of questions which is coming from different people. The questions, I read it one by one as it comes to me. It says, question, if KF wishes to spread this health technology at a rapid pace, then why do you plan to increase the price from 150 to 1 million? If we give it to major health machine or corporations, they will sell it to you $3 to $5 million. We increase it because this was a discounted rate to get it to be introduced into the market. Not this is the price of such a technology. And as usual, what we say is just because it's Keshe Foundation, we don't have to give everything free. You become very bad habited. And so, yes, it will go to 1 million. The next generations, a space generation, will increase to up to $5 to $10 million each. You will come to it and we explain to you why and how. It's just because it's the edge of science, we don't have to give it to you free. No way. You become bad habit. As one of the, what do you call it, member of the core team used to say, why everything from foundation has to be free? What have you put back in it? None. Nothing. The technology worth billions to support the others. Those who have the money is still enough.
Mr. Castiani asks in the chat, what is the procedure for being able to sell the plasma devices?
Who's asking?
Gianni in the Zoom chat there.
Nothing. You
Other
can
people
sell.
have asked as well, like,
Yeah,
how does one
first of all, we do not sell to any of our distributors. Our distributors will not be sold to be sell on. If anybody wants to sell it, there is a commission of 1,500 per unit is given. What we call the ones who are, what do you call it, selling, or they want to sell as what we call the reps or representatives, we are reconsidering all their, what do you call, contracts. Because a lot of contracts with Keshe Foundation has come to termination because now it goes to global as the Keshe Foundation moves out. And so anyone who you can sell to anywhere, anyone, you get 4,500. But a lot of people who sold and misrepresented the Keshe Foundation and their work will not be allowed to sell. We will not supply because we've seen misconduct in it. They will carry on and they bring different things for us. So a number of people who came in for whatever reasons and they took to be a representative and they did whatever they liked using the name of the foundation. This is part of the global structure, so we have to watch because what they do wrong will affect the work of the global as well. So a lot of things will be restructured. But if you sell and we approve you that the way you presented the technology to a person who wants to invest or whatever to buy a machine is correct on the ethos of the foundation, then we'll consider. But at the moment we get most of the inquiries directly by the people who want to invest and the people who are interested to deliver totally. So if a private is from Mr. Asiri, John Asiri, if I'm correct, says if a private non-governmental company wish to purchase one, then the price will remain at 150,000 euro. Yes, till 1st of January. 1st of January, it goes up for everyone to 500,000. And as we now start in January delivering, and the data will come up, it shows the certification, and it all goes. And then it goes to 1 million, because then it goes in the hand of the, not private, but the governments and the big health organizations. And we've invested to invest in building factories and health centers and helping the needy. So it's normal. This machine is valued around about $3 to $5 million. There's nothing like it. Nobody has ever produced such a thing. So why should we give it free and let the others suffer? The pricing of the use will be dictated by the owners of the system which they participate. So if somebody in China wants to charge $100,000 for what do you call it, Parkinson, or for damage to the leg, and the Chinese are prepared to pay for it, will be 100,000. And if somebody in Africa wants to charge $10,000 for the same thing, that's their privilege. So most of the people go over to Africa. So this is not a problem. It will be decided by each company itself according to where they are and how much of it they want to give back. Where in all the companies we carry 51% majority controlling share, but 30% of the actual income, not the profit. And if we invest, decide to invest, proportion according to what we invest will go towards the adding to the controlling shares. But whatever we invest, it goes back into the foundation anyway. So, but we keep it in a specific way. We heard about Paya. It says patients who are in medication treatment, like you said, on a load of medication, they must step down. The answer to this one is no. I had the doctors decide.
There's a couple of new questions that were sent to me by Stanley from YouTube. Has anyone been tried with cerebral palsy?
Cerebral palsy, we have had, and we have one family in China who wants to buy a unit for their son. And the doctors we advised was, we can take the case. You have to understand the problem with this condition. It has to be diagnosed by the doctors, is the physical damage. Some can be helped, some can be done. The process of the brain growth can be, but some, the brain, the skull has been deformed so much that there is no room for the brain to connect the right way. That's the decision of the medical people. We provide a system, but yes, it can, in some cases, yes, it can help. It's a very, very special case, this disease. It's not a disease, it's the way the child is born. And it, in some cases, is effective. And we have to find the limitation of it. And we have, as I said, one of the Chinese knowledge seekers has proposed to purchase a system for their son. And we are ready, we are open, and if anybody else wants, we can put all these data together. If we can put 4 of these machines in clinical trial with the officials in China, then very rapidly, within a few months, we can get the certification for that use of the machine for that purpose, yes. But depends. In some cases, you might see very small changes, but in some cases, you can attain certain amount of improvement. It says, Andrew Carlton says, so in going to be at least 25,000 per patient, 25,000 pounds. No, it's not. Yeah, the person, the groups who set up these, what they call the centers, They decide what they want to charge. We have never put a price on it, but there has to be a price to cover the expenses of the background charges of the foundation that we run. It's not just you going to it. So nobody has put a price on it. You got to understand, if you have a cancer and you go to United States and you have insurance policy, because I know this firsthand, it costs $2.5 million for a breast cancer. 5 to 7 years extension. So those who say we are asking for too much, it means you don't value, that's the value. If it's too much or you don't have the funds, it's a different thing. But if that's, you have the funds and you say it's too much, it means that's how much you value your life. That depends entirely upon you. And it has to be gradually accepted and to be done. It says it's from, oh no, regeneration is the same with reconstruction. No, regeneration is usually done in the brain cells and reconnection, and it's very effective. It works with this technology amazingly effectively. And reconstruction, that's you have to speak to Dr. Rodriguez. He's a plastic surgeon. Any other question? We try to go through the questions across, which is in the mag.
There was a question from Andrew that was also sent to me. He mentions there's so it's going to be at least say £25,000 per patient. That's a lot of money in England.
Oh, yeah, I read it. I read that. That's, so we haven't, we don't set a price. You will announce the health position in UK, which has already entered the agreement with the foundation. They decide the price. But at the end, as I said, it's locally by each group. They set up their own health centers. It's very funny questions. What is the difference between a GANS and a photon? A lot of difference. Big difference. Is the energy pack. Yes.
Sorry, this is Lisa from Australia. I just have a question, please.
Yes.
With many of the other plasma type units and different systems, we've always found that creating your intention and focusing on specific areas makes the processing more effective. I just wanted to find out, with this system, does the patient also help with their focusing of their intentions in specific ways?
Yes, in a way, when you, in a way, elevate the emotion and finds peace with itself, with its creator, which is the soul, yes, the intention changes too. As I said, I've seen amazing, strange things with different people and different patients with the doctor's treat. I just had a message that, as the gentleman you've seen on the video today, I just received the machine that he's gone for a cross-country walk. You could have told him this 6 weeks ago, they would have laughed their head off. The message just coming from China. He's gone for cross-country walk this afternoon. And you saw him 6 weeks ago coming to the hospital to see the doctors on a wheelchair. There is one of the biggest problems for, as I said last week, for these people is the hope of life, where they not only got disabled, not only, as you heard him, he's practicing his voice, they lose their voice, they lose their being able to express their emotion. The brain inside still works. The computer is ticking. The screen is damaged or one of the buttons is broken. And it's the same with these people. And when you give them a chance of life, the first weeks, the anxiety, the emotion is very, very high. I set this system especially in design for handling the first emotions in the first phase. Because the brain, now I can walk, I can write, I can make a change in my life. You watch the videos, but watch this video again and again, and watch the first time he tries to go on the chair as a stepping up. You see how long it takes him. Look at the last videos, he just jumps up. And you see him bending and getting up, something he could never do. They put them in bed, take them out of the bed, and put them on a wheelchair. You got to understand, in Western world, which is very small percentage, if you cannot squat, you cannot go to toilet, and it's a shameful thing for them. And there you thought, oh, the guy can sit. No, with this you give the dignity of the man to the man. This is what our job is, to give man his dignity back and allow him to choose his own time and space for his separation of his physicality. And it's the same. We provide the facilities, the knowledge and the technology. And you have to be able to what you call understand the gravity of these things, little changes. A man can feed himself. You see him playing with the ball on the drum, on the chair. You got, if I show you the videos before, he cannot even throw a thing. Catching a ball is for him. The first pictures, videos taken, they're giving him one of these wetties, you know, they're for cleaning babies, a pack to him to throw. He cannot. He stands there and watches it. He couldn't even let the ball go. If you notice in one of the videos, he hangs on to the hand of his carer. He wouldn't let go. Change of life is huge. And this technology is not just giving you a chance to move, it resets the whole structure, the emotion, the physicality. And then all this massive amount of pharmaceutical medicine which goes in it. We will see huge opposition from pharmaceuticals, that's for sure. But then by public owning these machines around the world, the faster we can get as many as these out, there's nothing you can do. Nothing you can do. We are a space technology. You cannot tell us, I would like one of the major pharmaceutical companies to deliver me aspirins on the moon, on demand.
Mr. Keshe, Hassan had his hand up here, and
can I finish?
Okay,
I
sorry.
can. In a space, I can deliver you the work of releasing your pain, your headache, like aspirin, as much as you like. And you don't need to take any medicine. If any of the pharmaceuticals can deliver cancer process on Mars in the coming time, on demand, we would like to know. Plus the new diseases. We have to develop a new way of thinking about pharma and how it suits all of us. Yes, Hassan. Hello.
I'm told in the background that he might be on his mobile, not his desktop or something, so he might not be able to respond apparently. I think
No
what
problem.
they're
He
passing
should
here.
have put his hand down. Any other question? Or you see next?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mr. Kesh, John here. I have a near person who has apparently palsy by what you've describing, and I've looked it up. This person is 35 years old and has had this problem for the last at least 15 years, and doctors haven't been able to diagnose it, but hasn't had any injury or whatever in this person's head. I imagine this can be treated as this.
I'm not a
body
doctor.
enhancement.
You have to get the doctors who understand our technology to decide.
Fine. Thank you.
As I was saying that in the next few weeks, as I said, we came from the commercial, from the teaching into the soul. Now we show next few weeks, because we have to bring this into public in a rapid way, the new technologies which are going to be delivered, and then we go back into new teachings for a space. As said, we start teaching a part of it, and we need to understand this technology has to come in, that mankind reaches a new level of understanding of the strength of knowledge, which is he knows but he's not aware of. That becomes the knowledge of a space. We see, for example, we can handle a lot of new things in the past centuries, because we have the capability. It's been with us, but we never tapped into it. Now, once we put these machineries into operation, you will see new cycle of school of thoughts, elevated knowledge, which 3 weeks ago was impossible. Because with the elevation of the technology this way, we tap into a higher level strength knowledge, which has been hidden from mankind. This is part of the process of introducing this technology. As you see, they say we were not so intelligent so many thousand years ago, and we became more and more intelligent because we allowed more dimensions, differentiation in different kind of information and magnetic field, plasmatic field, and strength in our brain. This technology now opens that door into what we call the knowledge of universe, which opens to understanding of the man. This kind of knowledge will gradually be opened up. The technologies and the sciences which we never understood will open up. In so many ways, we open the eye of the man to a new level of information which has not been comprehended or been available for him to understand. This is part of the use of this new technology. As we can receive higher strength, energies, understanding, we will think different way too. We understand different level of what you call intelligence. These all will become apparent to all of us. You will see people who will talk about things and then the others talk about the same, and it wasn't there till now. New generation of the words and feelings will be generated in the vocabulary of the mankind. Feelings which we never knew. Now it becomes, because now we feel it. We can understand it. We comprehend it. It's understanding new emotions that allows us to interact with the universal community. Is very much, you have an eyesight, you can see. Now you have to create a new emotion to be able to feel a soul, and that means the elevation of your own soul, or opening part of it that you can feel it. So, as I said, these machines, once we install in prison, will allow the prisoners to be free. The same way, when we put these mankind in these machines, we take man out of the prison of this planet. out of the prison of their own physical life into understanding the freedom of the universe. It is not just for prisoners of the prison, but it's for prison of the man has created for himself within the dimension of his own physicality. You will see and you observe new lighting system. You will observe different kind of understanding of the information and dimension. You will understand and feel new technologies will be delivered that has the feeling of the emotion direct in translating the emotion. You will see these technologies will be delivered in such a vast and strong way that will affect all of us in every dimension. My work cannot be stopped because too many of you have learned it. Too many of you know what to do with it, and at the same time you have to move on to the next step. With delivery of this technology, the way it will be structured, you will hear and see and feel new dimensions which was not available, as we ourselves in a way blocked it through our own dimensions. What we call doctors have to learn new ways, new understanding. The scientists need to develop new systems that works with the total intensity of emotion. I will show one of these very soon. As I said, in Vienna, people seen it. Now we show it in public, that how you can control, you can feel another emotion or create emotion in another entity. It's interesting that this machine is not just for what you thought, processing your conditions, but it does a lot more. What I see in the near future, more or less, there'll be one machine on every corner of every street, and most probably every one of you will have one at home. It'll become more essential than the car in the garage. It feeds you, elevates you, it brings you away from everything else which mankind has suffered, and at the same time allows you to understand a new level of freedom for mankind. It is very interesting how most of you will turn this thing to the benefit of mankind, and how the governments and those who have controlled us for centuries will lose control. It is very interesting, the development of this new technology and the way it will produce. The governments will encourage it. You can imagine 100,000, 200,000 of these units across China, and you get 100 people a day, can go in there for 5 minutes. They are fed, there is no one hungry, there is no illnesses. Governments in Europe do not go bankrupt on the back of these technologies. It becomes part of the insurance policies and part of it to be so easy to be done. Then do we need insurance companies? Or we need to be ensured that we have a system, it works, I don't need to worry. Many of you do not understand, really do not understand how poverty-stricken nations like America are. In America, many people having a cold, having a disease, cannot get them to the doctor because they don't have insurance policy and they cannot afford it, and they die because of it. Now, we see it as a way out for mankind. In a very way, if you look at it, we give you the security of the womb of the mother, where you had not to worry about the heat, the food, and the medicine. Everything was provided. These systems literally become that environment. Did we pay our mother for keeping us warm while you were in the womb of the mother? Did you pay her for nourishment? And did she control you how to breathe? And was she your king? Or was she your companion? You will understand I have changed the course of humanity. Does not matter how much you jump.
Mr. Keshe, I've got another funny case. The
All the
deficiency
cases
of
are funny.
deficiency of Q10, which is very rare disease.
I'm not a doctor. Ask a doctor. These technologies will be delivered that it can handle everything. In a near future, once the structure is set up the way we are doing it, as I explained before, the system will be tailor-made to the need of the person entering it. The fields of it will be adjusted accordingly. It's very strange for, you have to understand, and I mean you have to understand. And maybe I can show you something that it really hits home, as we say. I'm going to open something and send it to Rick. Just give me a few seconds. I have to work on it a little bit, and I'm a very slow man in these things. Edit. I'm not going to show you anything. I'm just going to show you something very, very simple. You can do the adding up. I don't need to do it. Okay, now what you will see, you do the adding up. Rick, there is something on your chat. If you can open it, please. Should be there in a minute.
Standing by, don't see anything yet.
Just be patient. Patience is a virtue. Okay.
That I've learned over the last years.
Okay.
Learning, not
Learning.
never totally learned. It's one of those life learning processes.
It never stops. Okay. I'm sending you an image, and then I explain to you what is the beauty of this technology. It's with you now. Put it on the screen. when you put it up, we can talk about it. Then you understand the gravity of what it is there. Have you got it?
Yes, there we go.
Okay, just add the total. These are the tablets. Morning, afternoon, and evening. If you tell me the total. 47. Anybody done a calculation on it? Over 45 tablets. This is what a
I got
19-year-old.
47, I believe.
This is the medication given to a 19-year-old boy with epilepsy. Do we treat our children worse than our animals? On top of these tablets, it's a lifetime of pain, exclusion, suffering, disability, family wrecking, and everything else. This is under supervision of doctors. We'll release this data, as you will see. Who are we making rich? The society or pension policies or pharmaceuticals? Till you don't see these figures, you don't understand how bad the situation is. 19 years old, already 2 or 3 years on this kind of medication, and it's increasing. Forget about all the brain electric shocks and everything else he's been given. This boy is back into full-time education. Gets a train, gets on the subway himself. For the first time in years watching movies. Already large reduction in this medication. The doctors do it, we just developed the technology for them. And in 2 months' time, you will see 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. This is where we bring the change. This is where this society has to accept, the government have to accept. Just because we've done it up to now does not need to be the way it is, and it has to be. What I would like you to see, I'll send you another picture. This boy, why should he suffer a lifetime? For the lack of knowledge by our physicians, not by his own doing. When you see it, you see the same. I don't cut anything out. But what is interesting is in past few days, he's been with us for weeks. This is how much it has changed in his life. You people complain when you have to take 2 aspirins and 2 paracetamols. This little boy is getting 47 of them, all attacking his brain and his physicality. Very, very interesting. Rick, that is on your page again, if you check it. We told you we don't talk. This is documents from doctors. We have privilege to have it, and we have a privilege to be able to share it. I send you another one of this shortcut somewhere. Just one second. I'm going to send you another one. You will see how this technology will affect everything and everywhere. It's not that just because we say so, it's because the doctors are delivering. The medical teams around the world are delivering the technology.
Did you want me to show that the second picture that you already sent there?
No, there is a small correction on it. I'll send you another one. Yeah, it's coming through. And you have to remember that the figures you see is a 1 day. 1 day. We're not talking a week. We're not talking a month. 1 day medication every day, and is increasing in numbers. Now you see the same numbers. It's with you now, Rick. It's coming through. You got it?
Just coming through now.
Put the two together next.
Sorry, I lost your audio there, Mr. Keshe. I'm not sure if it was my system or yours.
No, I just shut it down for a second.
Okay. You want me to put them both together? Is that what you said?
The last one and the first one, yes, please. Just put them together. Some of this mic is
some of this
open.
mic is open, yes. I think it's okay now.
These
okay.
are from medical files under supervision of the doctors. Now have a look. In 3 weeks, I don't tell you much, but if you look, 8.5 tablets less per day. And in 2 weeks' time, the way the doctors will reduce it, will be 22 tablets or so less. Have you seen that thing which hits you when you see it? They put the people which are overweight, and they say you are overweight by, let's say, 100 pounds or 50 kilo, and then they put 50 kilo of fat next to them, says you got to get rid of that much fat in your body, and it really hits them home. What am I carrying? Now understand, 47 tablets on the table every morning you have to take every day. You start your day with 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, about 20 tablets. That's just to start a day. And using the system in less than 3 weeks, because the first 2 weeks we don't allow with the doctors to do any reduction because the system has to build. And then the doctors withdraw slowly. And you can see it. I'll show you the same data in 2 weeks' time. That number from 8.5 will move to around 22. And that's one child, 19 years old. We already sentenced him.
Mr. Keshe, Dean had an interesting idea earlier, but it's appropriate right now, perhaps. He says the enhancement unit looks like a tablet or pill. Can it be reduced to that size? What if
No.
we, in effect, what if we could take a pill that was like the enhancement unit and we wouldn't have to take all these pills instead? Would we ever get to that point?
In the future, yes. Don't forget, you digest the food to convert to energy. It can be embedded. But that is time away. It's like the new chips will have embedded power supply. But what is important, now you can see, really comes home. Do you have a 19-year-old boy at home? Do you have a teenager at home? Would you like to put that much medicine on the table every day in front of him? Or because he's a zombie, as we say, he'll take anything you put in front of him and make it worse. If in 3 years this has become 47, what would it be in 47 years? What would be in 30 years?
Doug calculated out in 1 year, there's 17,155 tablets. So 10 years would be 170,100.
If you go back to one of the cases which Court of Belgium or the police of Belgium has defrauded and tampered with the evidence, the first girl who has used with epilepsy used 20 tablets a day, and it came to 0. They never told the court that the girl is on no medication. How can it be unknown? But they said he's done this and that, and he was on the observation of her own doctors. We done this 15 years ago in Belgium. Now we put it in public. This is what I say. Damn the nation who's stolen so much from humanity. This is exactly what we done. This is an epilepsy case. The girl, they didn't tell the court. The girl is not taking 20 tablets. And the doctor himself, she's taken over 100,000 tablets since he knows. The pharmacist has built 2 villas from just the money from her. That's what the doctor says. Now you can imagine how much money this pharmacy makes. You think pharmaceuticals are going to allow us to do this? Or do we put enough that the pharmaceuticals themselves come and use it? Or shall we put a camera outside and see how many of the world leaders and others who oppose it, they send their children who are dying to be in the machine? I'm sure we'll see the family of Red Circle in this, but in a worse condition. And the answer is refusal to operate. The machine will not operate for them. Not us. One of the interesting thing is, when you look at this data in 2 weeks' time, 3 weeks' time, and it reduces, and then we look at it in 4 to 6 weeks' time and it's 0 at the bottom, Does your money in the bank worth keeping? We need 30 units in China, and this boy is the Chinese. Those of you who are prepared to pay, if my son or myself, you get yours free. What about the boy? It's very easy. Now you see it physically. The younger you are, the more they load you with medication. Now you understand why I taught you ethics. And it was part of the teaching. Because we are here to make the change. We are making the difference. And as part of making that difference, we need to create that condition of difference. Nobody's going to do it for us. Nobody has ever done it for us. And the interesting part is nobody will ever come to do it for us. Rick, I'll send you another picture, but as you all have become knowledgeable in reading it, you can understand very quickly where we came from. And the figure you see shows the reduction. This is the man you all came to know on the video. Yeah. I have to do it. Sorry about that. I'm going to send you 2 pictures. And you understand, it's not just that the guy walks, is the fact that would any of you like to be in his place? And you have to understand, all these medication are targeted at the brain. Nothing else. The only victim is the brain of the man. And I'll show you this very easily. You will see. Anyway, I'll send it to you, Rick. And it'll be interesting for you to see the figures. You have to be faced with the facts, not talk, then you understand. And this is what we're going to do from now on. Every data achieved will be put in public, that you understand. Pharmaceuticals cannot block. Ooh, it doesn't allow me to send that one away. Let me see why I cannot send this through. Somehow I cannot send this image through. I've never seen this before.
Perhaps it's a PDF or some other form.
It's the same as the other two you had. Okay, what I'm going to do, I'm going to get a screenshot of one and send it to you. You can pick it up on the other one. It's easy to do it this way. I'm learning all the tricks of using the mobile phone, that is. Okay, let me edit it very quickly. Then you can see the gentleman you've seen, what differences we have made in his life. You can see, you see the physical side. Now you can see the medical side, or what you call what the doctors have reduced for him. Rick is on your secure line.
Okay, awaiting delivery.
Should be there now. If you can put the three of them, this the second one, the one you receive is for the gentleman you've seen. And you can see the reduction in medication for the man in 3 weeks, in 4 weeks, nearly half. This is a huge difference this technology is making. How many of you are on tablets on a daily basis? Doesn't matter, the insurance company pays. It's your body which swallows it. Yep. If you see from around 11.5 tablets a day is reduced by 6.5, nearly 6.25. And the more we reduce, the better it performs. Because the brain is made. You got to push it up a little bit. It's a lot of juggling around. Huh? So you will see this figure to 0 in next 3 weeks. And you see a man will go back to work, most probably for where he came from China oil. But the most interesting thing about this gentleman is he owns a hospital. He actually owns, the man you see his list there, him and his wife own a hospital. A 200-bed hospital they own. And they have all the medication in the world at their hand. He's not an ordinary man. He's extremely wealthy, but the wealth could not buy him the wheelchair. This technology can. And now you have to understand a man in his position with his wealth is the best advertising for the Keshe Foundation. I'll walk him through the passages of the European Court of Justice. Let's see if the one who faked it and paralyzed and then giving a talk will match up. You watch, you see him walking, you see him go up the chair. Now you see on the other side of the wall. And you got to see his daughter and his family. As soon as you've seen he lost his voice, he couldn't speak out. He was whispering. As he's practicing and he's going for a walk in the woods today, he will talk. Red circle. You have two choices. 11th floor is not high enough. Many people like this should have been helped. I'll give you the choice. You chose. I'm going to tell you a secret. You see, this man is wealthy and he's come to nothing. With the wealth he has, was nothing. When I met the Red Circle, he had no food to eat. I had to drive from Tiham to Antwerp to give him money to pay for his electricity and telephone bill. Was our foundation. When he sold me to the Belgians, they bought him the most expensive apartment in the most expensive building in Belgium. In Antwerp. Now you know why he works with them. From rag to riches by selling the man's life. A man from the riches to rag with the illness. We will show the bills we have paid. A man who's so wealthy, if I show you his hospitals, we have the videos of it. And the other things he owns, he couldn't buy his life back. And the man who was given his life went to the court and faked it. In the court, we bring somebody in the European court that Red Circle used to drive his car, tiny little car, because he was in Australia and he had no money to even to put the fuel in it. And while the guy was in Australia, he used to come and go with it. He couldn't afford. Now he drives a Mercedes on my life, on my family life, what they've given him to betray. Belgium security is releasing a lot of information. They won't lose a kingship for a king artist. You got to understand, all the wealth in the world would not bring the wheelchair off. And you have to understand, all the youth in the world would not have brought the boy back to his life. This technology can. And I have put my life and all my assets to make sure this system in 2020 will be the reach of most of man on this planet. Needs you to decide. It hits home. You just go to the pharmacy and ask the pharmacist, give me 450 tablets or 470 tablets and pile them in 47 on the table, and for 10 days take them. then you see how you feel. Thank you very much for today. I've given you everything free, but this time you have to pay to free the mankind, not me. And I hope you understand. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Keshe.
Thank you, Mr. Keshe, once again for another outstanding workshop here with so much information and good news for humankind. Perhaps we will be kind through this technology. Okay, thank you everybody for participating.
Can I ask you to play that video before we go up, please?
Okay, sure.
Thank you very much.
Okay, I can play that now, Flint.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, let me share.
Innovative, revolutionary, stellar development, purest universal knowledge. In a transformative, futuristic design. The Universal Body Enhancement Spaceship Unit. The very first new evolutionary spaceship technology has been rolled out for mass production. Our Universal Body Enhancement Spaceship Unit is constructed from high-quality materials carefully selected by our team of experts. Embedding the essence of the new GANS plasma science and technology, it uses collective plasma field technology for changing and enhancing the environment of the body of the man. This new plasma enhancement changes the environment of the body to allow it to return to its natural, balanced, energetic condition, as in the womb of the mother, allowing every cell in the body of the man to find its natural, original field strength balance. The shape and field distribution in this new space plasma technology replicates the inner structure of the universe and replicates the balance fields from which the man was created at the point of inception in the womb of the mother, not only receiving balance in the physical, but also in the emotional sense too. For the first time in the history of man, a system has been developed and delivered which not only enhances the physical body of the man, but also enhances the emotional part of the user of the system, hence reducing and eliminating many problems that could not be solved in the world of science, to bring the body of the man into near perfection as at the time of birth. This new spaceship technology can be within the reach of every man today and can be ordered by medical practitioners, sports specialists and healthcare centres. The Universal Enhancement Spaceship Unit, the future you have been waiting for, is here. The journey from space to spaceship technology has started. Every order is subject to a contractual agreement and might require additional accessories priced separately for applications according to each case. You can order or contact us at office@at.kfm.global for additional information.
Ah.
Thank you, everyone, for attending the 298th Knowledge Seekers Workshop for Thursday, October 17th, 2019. And we'll see you next week for the 299th Knowledge Seekers Workshop. Bye for now.
Hello. We are the Keshe Foundation. Our mission is to bring peace on Earth and join humanity with the universal community. We wish and work to bring man as equal to all beings in the universe. By teaching plasma science and technology equally to everyone, no one is left out and no one is abused due to lack of knowledge. By donating to us, you can help achieve this goal. keshefoundation.org/donate